I kind of have an unconventional story. I'm not from an IT background. I'm a doctor by profession. I passed out from a college in Bombay and then I went to the US to do my post graduation. After coming back, I was looking for a job, and there was a very interesting internship at Practo where they were looking for a doctor to help launch a product for doctors. It was a 3-month internship, and it seemed very intriguing, so I applied for it and I got in. So in my opinion, a good product manager should be someone who listens to their consumers. I think that's the primary thing, because and not just listen to what they say, but try to understand them beyond what they're talking. So a lot of the needs are latent, and it's very important for a product manager to understand those needs. So that has been my, like, I feel like that's one of the things that you need to actually have. There are of course other skills, like you need to know data analytics, you need to understand and interpret data well, you need to work with different functions, you need to have a core understanding of UI and UX, which is user interaction and user experience. Working with engineers, having even a basic knowledge of how product and engineering function together to actually release the product cycles. I think that's something that's really important. And there are and one skill which I feel is, it always works in your stead, is to work cross functionally. The more people you can work with, the more people you can connect with, that's, I think, makes a really good product manager. So I've been fortunate enough to be from in this product from the very inception of the product. I was hired when the product was pre-launch, and I got to work with it over the last 3 years. The product that I work in is Consult, which is an online consultation platform. It brings me happiness to actually work on this, because this is a product that people actually find useful. It makes their life so much better. So imagine you're looking for a doctor at 2 in the night, and it's really hard to go find somebody, but on our platform you can actually get a doctor within 2 minutes any time of the day and night, and not just a general physician or a primary doctor, but also a specialist. So we believe and we make a difference to a lot of people's lives, and we hear such great stories from them. So it's a very heartening job to have. Officially, I've worked as a program manager and a product manager, but I've kind of done, I've gone on sales visits, I have done the designs for it. We've, I think, other than coding, which I'm not, I don't know, we've kind of done everything else for it. So that's kind of been my experience, which I think is kind of all product managers. They're kind of white space fillers, that wherever there is a gap, you kind of go fill it, you make sure it launches, and then you're back to what your core competency is. So when we launched this product, Consult, it was a product that people wanted. They were looking for a doctors at all times of the day and night. And doctors are busy people. They have emergencies, they have OPDs, and of course they have their families after all of that. So it was really hard for us to find a time in their schedule where even they could commit to us, because their time also was not theirs. And we didn't want to have like a bunch of internal doctors which would solve the need for product by just having operationalizing the whole thing. So we built a algorithm. So we thought about this process, and we realized we needed a solution that would work at scale for all the doctors outside who had busy lives and were practicing on their own. So we built a solution where we had an algorithm which matched patients and doctors. So anytime a patient reached out to us, we would match them with the most available doctor. And these are not in-house doctors. These are not sitting in my office. These are doctors in their hospitals, in their OPDs, in their houses. So we built an engine, and that's the engine that we're most proud of today, because at that point we were today that we're doing actually 10 to 20x of the growth that of the transactions that we did then. And even today the product, without a lot of changes, has grown to scale very beautifully. So one of the primary challenges for us was building the doctor onboarding engine, because until we had all these specialists and we had these doctors, it was really hard to take an offering to patients. So for us, the doctor onboarding was very important, and we also wanted to make sure that these are all real doctors. They have real degrees, and we had to have a lot of information like bank details and everything, which made the sign up form very very cumbersome for the doctors. And they were very interested in it. We were very grateful to have such supportive doctors, but technologically it was really hard for them. And we realized this because we went and met a few people, we spoke to a lot of people, and we pay very close attention to the feedback that we get. So what we did is not only did we simplify the form, we just broke it down into a bunch of pieces. So internally inside Consult, we have a bunch of services, and for every few data points or a few fields that they filled up, we gave them that service. So they would just give us some information, and then they would try it, and they would use the product, then they would like it, then they would give us more information. So so the lesson that we learned in this was having a very demanding set of items from a doctor or from any consumer right up front without you having proven your product is really hard to take. So it's better if we actually break it down into sections. At the end of every section, if they could experience a little bit, they also end up building a lot of confidence in the product, and they're willing to work with you even closer and be more supportive of the plan. So customer feedback is really really important to us, because if you're not building for the user, you're not building. And in fact, we're a marketplace product, so we have customers which are outside users like you and me, and then there are doctors. So both of them are our users, and we have to listen to both of them. And if we end up building a product that one person sitting in a room thinks that this would be a good idea, that's not something that may be useful for the doctor, who in his real world really has no time to handle so many functions and so many features. So it's very important to keep that back and forth going, almost like a really long conversation, so that you release, they tell you, you keep giving feedback, and it kind of goes back and forth. And I think that's one of the core competencies of any product manager. One of the things that we do is we go and talk to people. I have just taken my designs and gone to malls and food courts and say, hey, can you just help me? Do you think this makes sense? Would you buy this? Does this make sense for you? We've gone to doctors, we've sat in their OPD for hours, because they were so busy to see us, but at the end of it, they were so gracious enough to give us their time to tell us in detail what worked, didn't work. And in fact, we were surprised by the amount of support and encouragement they gave us, because we started with a very small product, but the amount they used it and the very thoughtful feedback that we got, that was amazing for us. And it's not just one person or one just one meeting and you get this feedback. It has to be a lot of people, so you kind of understand you're not building for one specific person who might be very sincere in their feedback, but actually building for a lot of people, and it's going to work for the majority of the audience.